Interview with our extension. We have Katie Candler with us today. And Katie, first off, these last couple of days have been nice and warm and toasty. Getting the itch to get back outside, aren't we?
For sure, and when a nice week's followed by last week's extreme cold temperatures, it really is a big difference, and ready for that spring and planting time and flowers.
You still have to be cautious, though, because we still are at the end of February and March, and there still can be some freezing, so you don't want to jump the gun too soon, do you?
No, our typical average last frost date is April 15th. So we've got a while yet, but there are some things that we can think about planting that can withstand some frost.
That's just a day I normally don't think about frost. You know what I mean?
And people can remember that because it's tax day.
Yeah,
right?
I bet they can. Hey, well, first off, though, now we are basically here the 1st of March, and people, though, if they are going to be planting a garden, they need to start prepping now, don't they? Get everything ready to go.
Yes. Now is a great time to start planning and thinking, okay, what worked last year? What didn't work last year? What is something new I might want to try this year, a different variety, or looking at seed catalogs and ordering. I know I may have went a little crazy with seed orders when it was cold and we were stuck in the ice. So it's a great time to start that planning and figure out what you want to have in your garden this next year.
And also, it wouldn't be a bad idea to get a soil test. I know right now the ground's still a little bit frozen if you get a little bit too deep, but very soon, if we still have some moderating temperatures, the ground should be thawed enough where you can get that soil test. And if you're planning to plant something specific, you may want to know what that level of acidity is or what you have in the soil, right?
Yes, for sure. And I've been given several talks recently about fruit and berry plants and blueberries in particular. We tell people if you want to attempt blueberries, you plan a year in advance because they have very specific acidic soil requirements. And then in general, a soil test is great because it tells you what you need for what crop you want to grow. Mm-hmm. So we can save money by doing a soil test because we're not applying too much and having issues with too much nutrients.
How about somebody who's planning on maybe starting a garden for the first time? What should they be thinking about doing? I know right now pretty much all of our snow is gone, so should they go out and put markers where they want to place their garden, and then also make sure they call 811?
Yes. So those are great starting points to start to plan out where you want it. And 811 is a great reference to if you're going to be doing any digging, knowing where any type of utilities or pipes or lines run. So 811 is happy to come out and mark that. So that can also help you plan where you want it, or you may need to shift the garden around. And then doing that soil test, checking out, we have a vegetable planting calendar on our website, or you can get it at your local extension office. And that's a great resource to also start planning on planting dates. It gives some varieties. Also thinks about how many people you have in your family and how much you might need to support a family with fresh vegetables over the year.
And your neighbors, because they're always going to be asking, aren't they?
Sure, yes. It's always nice to share those homegrown tomatoes or a watermelon.
Or radishes or lettuce or whatever else might be in your garden, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm giving away lettuce right now because I'm growing some hydroponically in my office. And yesterday I gave away I don't know how many heads of lettuce. So it's always good to share the harvest.
Yeah, I was on the wrong end of that. You were too far away, I guess. All right.
Yeah.
But so you really kind of hit the strategic part of gardening is right now.
Yes, this is when we have that time to think things through and plan it out, and also think about what what might be issues, or if we've gardened before and think through, okay, I had a lot of problems with squash bugs last year, so what's my plan to combat them this year?
Yeah, yeah. And also, I guess, in preparation, if you're going to put a garden in, you need to make sure you have a water source, don't you?
Yes, and in particular, the last few years we've definitely been in drought conditions, and last year's drought lasted well into the winter. So we were extremely dry late summer and all the way through the fall into the winter before we came out of drought, and some parts of the state are still in drought conditions.
I think when people, though, when they start putting in a garden, they think about all the great, things that are going to come out of that garden, all those vegetables. But also, if you are going to have to tap into a water source that's not natural, rain, obviously, or, you're going to have to end up paying a little bit more on your water bill, especially like a city residence where they might be willing to put maybe a 12 by 20 garden in. There will be an increase in their water bill, won't there?
Sure. Yep. That is part of it, for sure.
But we do know, and I know in the city of Salem, for those who are listening in, that you can actually get a meter that you can tell the city what you're using for planting, so it doesn't go down your sewer, so it's not getting hit twice. You're not going to be using that water for sewer, so all you got to do is get that meter. They will meter that cost, and then you actually don't have to pay for the sewer cost as well. So there are, again, we talk about strategic things. If you're doing that, that's something you need to look into now as well.
Sure, that's a great option to look into.
So what else is going on with the extension and getting ready for the spring season? What can you tell us about?
Well, this time of year is also a great time to look at. We've got quite a few online classes going, other classes going on around the state, because this is the time we can get people to come to stuff when the weather's good anyway.
Yeah.
As far as providing some education and all of that before everybody gets busy outside.
Is there any particular online class or even a class where you can go to that might be one you would recommend for somebody that's trying to get started in planting?
Sure.
Yeah.
So we have a monthly garden hour that's a webinar series, and it is the third Wednesday of the month at noon to 1. And it doesn't just cover vegetable topics, it's all horticulture topics. So anybody can get onto that. You can sign up for it, or you can watch it live on YouTube. And our YouTube channel is MUIPM. And if you just Google MUIPM YouTube, it will come up. And on there, not only can you watch the live garden hour, you can watch recordings of the garden hour, and you can watch short educational videos from either home horticulture. We also do commercial horticulture, so more of those that are getting into commercial growing to sell. We've got videos on there for that. And then there are also some on the livestock side, too. So lots of options on that MUIPM YouTube.
Very good. Now, I know you're familiar with our Salem Community Garden, right?
Yep.
Yes, you have been here before and seen that. And right now would be a good time if somebody's thinking about getting a plot out there. This is a perfect time to get it, and that first plot is absolutely free.
All right. And if you don't have room in your backyard, community gardens are a great option to have an opportunity to grow some and get started, and also work with others. If you don't know very much, that community part of the community garden is great because everybody has different knowledge and are willing to share that and help.
Right, and our friends from the Extension, we usually have a speaker once a month that comes in and talks about a different topic that might be apropos to what somebody is wanting to plant this year.
Sure.
It's a wonderful community garden. It's out behind our Salem United Methodist Church, and for a town our size, I remember when they got it started, nobody really knew about it, and now that it has gotten a little bit more popularity, they've raised some beds, they've done some different things to it to really help out. So if you're interested in the Salem Community Garden, you can just call the Extension, and you can get on the list, and of course they can tell you, and once they get it all ready, not quite ready yet, but they'll be starting starting that in March, so you definitely want to make sure you get your name in there so they can contact you. It's a fantastic resource.
It is. And, while I'm not local there to Salem, I am always happy to answer phone calls or emails with any type of garden questions you have.
And can you give us your number for that, Katie?
Sure. My number is 573-883-3548. The other option is to go to your local extension office there in Salem, and they will get in contact with me, and I will give you a call back, or we'll figure out what's going on with your garden issues.
Yes, I don't think they have set up their speaker series yet. You have done some of those here before, have you not?
Yes, for the Salem Community Garden.
Right.
I've done several over the years.
And it's a quaint group. They're pretty nice out there, and they do help each other. And that's the key, as you were talking about. Learn from others.
Yes.
So let's real quickly. Let's just talk about as the summer comes on. I always want to talk about. We talked about the drought, but I always want to talk about over moisture. You get too much rain, and usually in the spring we seem to have that 1 week where you can't get sunlight out, and it's just cloudy, dreary, light mist, drizzle, then rain, then a thunderstorm. Plants can get too much rain, can't they?
They can, and honestly, we can deal with drought a lot better than we can deal with too much water. There's not a whole lot we can do with too much water. That's another important thing, is to know your planting site. And look, when we get a heavy rainfall, does water sit in an area? Does it have poor drainage? So those are some things to look for and be aware of, that anytime we have poor drainage or a low spot that water sits, we're going to have plant diseases and root rots and different things that go on.
Now, can somebody combat that with a raised garden in that area if that's the only place that they have?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Raised beds can definitely combat that. The nice thing about raised beds is you get to choose the soil you put in it. And there's all sorts of options with raised beds, how much money you want to spend on it, what you want it to look like. You've got lots of options. The biggest thing with raised beds, they do dry out quicker, and that can be an advantage, or it can be a disadvantage.
Sure.
So remember that raised bed is kind of like a big flower pot, so we are going to have to water it more often than we would something that's in the native soil or in the ground. Are
you aware if there's a training video on how to build a raised bed on that MU site?
We have so many videos, I am not sure if we have anything specific on constructing a raised bed.
But I'm sure
I do know we have a guide sheet on it.
Right. I am sure the extension has something on raised beds, because they have something on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much everything. So, so if you're interested in a raised bed, they can contact the Denton County Extension, 729-3196, and they can ask about that pamphlet or that guide, whatever it might be. They can mail it to you, email it to you, or you can just stop by the Extension office. I'm not sure they have one right there, but I'm pretty sure they can get one pretty quick, can't they?
That's right.
And if they have some questions once they get that raised bed in, that's when Katie comes in, right?
That's right.
Very good. Very good. Well, Katie, I really don't have anything else to ask you at this time. Do you want to give your phone number one more time in case somebody has a question or two?
It's 573-883-3548.
883-3548. Very good. Well, we wish you the very best, and I would say a happy end of February, beginning of March. We're almost there, not too far away, but we do want to thank you for joining us today on KSMO. We always appreciate our extension and all the information they can get. And again, there's just so much information about planting and gardening on the extension website, and most people should actually be maybe even scouring that before you get ready to do your planting this year. You might just find something on there that just grabs your attention.
That's right. Lots of new things to learn and look at.
All right. Well, Katie, again, thank you very much for calling in. We really appreciate it. And I hope you have a fantastic spring and summer before. I think we talked to you again in the fall, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I can't remember when my next one is, but we'll always have some planting stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we'll have a good harvest, hopefully, right?
Yes, hopefully.
More of those vegetables, more of those lettuce heads, and all that good stuff
Yes.
you might have. Very good. Well, Katie, again, thanks for calling in on KSMO. We really appreciate it, and you have a great rest of the day.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye. At KSMO Radio, your hometown radio station, that's been Katie Kamler of the Extension. She's over in the Cape Girardeau and the St. Genevieve area, and so she makes the phone call in. We really do appreciate her doing so. And, of course, don't forget, every fourth Wednesday of the month, we bring you our Extension interview right here on KSMO Radio. Again, thanks to Katie Kamler for making a call in this morning here on your hometown radio source, KSMO Salem.
Looking for a propane service that meets your needs? Then Chilton Oil Company in Salem is your answer. They've been serving Salem and the surrounding area since 1966. Chilton offers prepay, budget pay plans, and they have automatic delivery options available. Call them at 729-6671. In Licking, call 573-674-2641. Or in Ironton, call 573-546-0040. Or stop by 801 South MacArthur Street in